welcome to a short video on how to use the tool Timeline.js to create a digital timeline. To get started, I'm just going to navigate to the major assignments page of our website and click on the link to Timeline.js here. It should open in another window. I actually also have it open over here. So once you're on the page, you can just scroll down and you'll see, you can go past these examples, so you're also welcome to read them. 4 steps that they provide to making a timeline. So again, I think the steps that are provided on the site are very clear. This video is just meant to supplement those instructions and to illustrate how it will work in action. So the first step, as they indicate here, is to create a spreadsheet template. And I want you to know, just as a sidebar, that although it may seem confusing to go through these steps the first time, once you actually start playing with this tool, it's very user-friendly. So just as a side note there. So step 1, you want to get the spreadsheet that you will use and work in to create your timeline. So you click on this little blue box here that says Get the Spreadsheet Template. It will open. And as they indicate here, what you want to do is actually it's going to make a copy, and you may want to, so you just click on the little blue box that says Make a Copy. And then once it's copied, you may want to, it's going to open in Google Sheets. You can always change the title here to something that will help jog your memory about what this document actually is. So maybe CM316 Group Timeline 2019, something like that, just so that you'll be able to find it. Then going back to the instructions, you're going to do step 2, which is to publish this Google Sheet to the web. And again, here you can read through the instructions, but I'll just walk you through exactly what you should do. So you go back to your spreadsheet here, you click on File up here at the top. You scroll down to Publish to the web. It asks you, it gives you options. You don't need to do anything. You can just click on Publish, and when it asks you if you're sure, you say OK. And that's it. Close this window. You don't actually need to copy this URL. Okay, so just close the window. This is actually the URL, the one at the top of the page that you're going to be working with, but you don't need to worry about that yet. So we'll go back to our instructions, and we're now ready to go down to steps 3 and 4, except actually these steps pertain to publishing your spreadsheet and publishing your timeline. And you don't actually need to do that yet. The bulk of the work that you're going to do yourself and with your group is actually in this spreadsheet. So you want to make sure that everyone has access to this URL and they can all work in this space. Now, when you look at this spreadsheet, again, it may look intimidating at first because there are a lot of different fields, but it's really very simple. And I'll show you an example that I've done in a minute. But the basic thing to keep in mind is all the year and date information for any entry you make is going to go over here in year, month, day, time. So that's the beginning, year, month, day, time, and the end. You don't need to worry about display date. I've never used that field before. And then in headline is where you're going to put kind of a brief, punchy description of the event that is included in your headline. In the text box is where you'll include a kind of fuller annotation explaining your choice and providing some context. And the media field is where you'll include a link to a YouTube or Vimeo video, an image, anything else that you want to illustrate your entry. And you can include the credit and caption information here. So that's how it looks in theory. I'm going to show you one that I've actually already begun to build. So my timeline, I've decided, pretend I've worked with my group and decided that the focus of our timeline and timeline of 21st century film history is going to focus specifically on women in 21st century Hollywood. And actually, I already see I have a few extra words there, so I'm going to go and edit that. In the text field, I've just entered a little bit of supplemental information, the 2000 to 2019 being the kind of span of time I'm going to look at, and I've added some media. You'll see how this all looks in a minute when I actually launch it and preview it for you. But you'll see, just looking down here, that I've added 2 entries so far, and I can keep going. I can build as many as I want. Your assignment specifies that you should include at least 10 entries. I would say 10 is plenty. You definitely do not need to include more than that, and it might include, again, specific work by specific filmmakers, particular events in film history, movements or phenomena that you see as having been particularly significant. The 2 that I've included is the screenwriter Tracy Oliver becoming the first African-American female screenwriter to write a film, Girls Trip, that grossed more than $100 million. I've added some sort of additional information here and included a still from the film. And again, you'll see how this looks in a minute. And for here, in this case, the date was just 2017, the release date for Girls Trip. The next entry I have is a little bit more specific. It's the moment that Kathryn Bigelow won Best Director for Hurt Locker, and that did occur on a particular date. March 7th, 2010 was the date of the 82nd Annual Academy Awards. And I've included a video clip of Barbra Streisand announcing Bigelow and Bigelow receiving that award. So I'm not going to go any further. These are, I think, two examples that will show you how this looks in action. So let me go back so I can show you exactly how it will look. If you go back to your timeline instructions, I'm going to take the URL at the top of this page. I'm just going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it into this step 3 where it says Google Spreadsheet URL. That's all I have to do is just paste it right in there. You do not need to adjust the settings. You can go right down to step 4. You're not ready to share the link. When the time comes, I will give you a place to share it on our course site. But for now, what you want to do is preview your timeline to make sure it looks okay. And you might actually want to preview in a new window. So I'm going to click on that link and look, it takes me to a little preview of my timeline. So this is the image I included to accompany my title of my my overall timeline. And I'm going to click on these arrows to toggle left and right. So you should keep in mind that the entries, however you enter them in the spreadsheet, they will be listed chronologically. So the first entry is actually the second one I included from 2010. And if you click on the video, you'll see that it's going to start to play, right? And if I were actually completing this, I would add an annotation here explaining the significance of Bigelow's win. If I toggle right, you'll see here's my entry pertaining to Tracy Oliver's achievement, and it's still from Girls Trip. Okay, and as you'll see, you could keep going, right? At this point, I only have 2 entries, but you can keep building them. So it's really as simple as that. When the time comes, again, you'll go to step 4 and get a little bit of extra code or a link to paste into to a part of our site, and we'll be able to share each other's timelines and look at them and react to them. But for now, I think this is everything you need to know about making a digital timeline in Timeline.js. Thanks.